I think the one unique thing that separates him from a lot of superheroes is that he's a man. He's not a super force from another planet. Green lasers don't shoot out of his fingers.
And he's traumatized from his youth, and it's certainly a fundamental fear you're going to lose your parents. He's raised by someone else. He's lonely and angry, and there's a goodness in him. He wants to right wrongs.
And he has all the vulnerabilities and all of the flaws and all of the human drama that any human being has. He's not perfect, and he's not impenetrable. He's a man, not a Superman.
It's a perfect character. It's a perfect story.
I wanted to add mythic qualities to our story of Batman. And so there was a struggle for Bruce Wayne to find his identity insofar as why he ever became Batman, to look back in his past as a child and the events that happened to him and why he became Batman. He has a choice as a man now whether to continue to be Batman or not.
Why does a man do this? It's as if he's cursed to pay some great penance. Now, what crime could he have committed to deserve a life of nightly torture?
It's more than just professional interest, isn't it, Jason?
Val Kilmer was to me a much more mysterious and romantic and coolly aloof Bruce Wayne. Very different than Michael Keaton. Although they're Batmans, in the costume with the voice doing the stunts was pretty much the same.
You look at Val Kilmer and you think, what the hell's that guy thinking? Because certain actors have that thing where you look at them and you know the wheels are turning in there.
Val Kilmer felt more haunted but heroic.
Well, also, Val Kilmer, he's rich.
Yeah.
You walked into a room, you realize this guy's a billionaire, and people are attracted to him.
Yeah, he was comfortable with his wealth, where Michael Keaton's interpretation was he was never comfortable in his own skin,
right,
and never comfortable with all of this stuff, which had basically come from his parents.
Right.
I killed him. What did you say? He killed him. Two-Face. He slaughtered that boy's parents. No. No, you said I. I killed him.
The things that are most fantastical about Bruce Wayne have to do with basic American dream ideals. He's disgustingly wealthy. He's so wealthy it never comes up. What he chooses to do with his free time is fight an impossible battle against the crime of a city that's corrupt. It's very wild, very radical, very political.
This is a guy who can't just take off the mask and the cape and put it away. It's going to creep into his everyday life. It's going to be causing repercussions in his everyday life. And we wanted to explore those.
You have a thing for bats?
Oh, that's a Rorschach, Mr. Wayne. An ink blot. People see what they want. I think the question would be, do you have a thing for bats?
It's a classic character now, and people are still enthralled with it. It's kind of become, especially with Val stepping into the shoes now, it becomes even more classic because you have Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and then who knows who else who will play the role. So it seems to be almost like a James Bond, but a different kind.
Batman's all about doing and action, and these incidental things that come up where he's got to stop and talk to people. He'd rather not. And I like those scenes a lot. He likes Chase, but why'd you call me here? And just wants to go. It's a really good screenplay.
The sadness is that this man who can never be healed.
Right.
If he was, it would be a terrible thing for the city.
It would be a loss for the city if he was healed. So he sort of needs to maintain his psychological problems for the sake of everybody else. And I think deep down he has to know that.
What's that stand for?
Robin. About 11 months after the first story was published in 1940, Robin was introduced, the first of the kid sidekicks ever.
Over the years, over the decades, the legend has been that of Batman and Robin. And I think no matter how they're portrayed in the movies or the comics, from time to time Batman will be alone, from time to time they'll be together, but I think there's no way they'll ever permanently be separated out. And in the comics, in fact, there have now been several Robins who have been created to fill the role.
What that allows you to do is to sort of get to Nightwing, who is the adult Robin character. And in fact, that is the costume that Chris wears in the movie.
Who's your tailor?
I took the liberty, sir.
I was fascinated doing the movie just to kind of see what the story is like. Where did Robin come from?
So what we did was we went back to the comic books and just started reading every version of Robin's origin story to say, you know what, let's at least honor the history that already exists.
The legend of Dick Grayson in Batman comics is that he and his family, they are traveling acrobats with a circus. I brought in Dick Grayson, who becomes Robin, because his family has also been killed by a criminal. And he's a mirror of what happened to Bruce Wayne when he was younger, so he gets to relive that through another person.
His parents died, and he's consumed with revenge. He can't think about anything else.
There's fun to this truth that we find one way or another situations that force us to work through those things we haven't worked through from our own lives.
Whenever you go out at night, I'll be watching. And wherever Batman goes, I'm gonna be right beside him. I mean, how are you gonna stop me?
I can stop you.
I think Chris O'Donnell did a great job as Robin. He brought believability to the character. If the character in the movie had been 12 years old, as he was in the comic books when he started out, the believability factor, that suspension of disbelief, would have been strained really, I think, to the edge. But Chris, doing it the way he did at his age, was able to scale that and make it work.
I was excited that I was in the right place at the right time. I suppose if they had done Robin in the first one, it wouldn't have been me, and I wouldn't have been a part of it. Not just a friend.
A partner. Bats aren't rodents, Dr. Meridian.
Really? I didn't know that. You are interesting. And call me Chase.
She's a criminal psychologist. She's just moved to Gotham City. And that's how she first encounters Batman, and he knocks her off her feet. I mean, she's sort of attracted to the dark side of life, so Batman is very attractive to her. Bruce Wayne is interested in her, so therefore there's a love triangle between two people, obviously.
Chase is fun. She's smart as Bruce, sexy as Bruce.
I said, it's not going to be believable. I mean, she's a psychologist. You just don't dress like this as a psychologist. Joel says, Nicole, this is a comic book. We throw logic out the window. It is heightened reality. And then as soon as he said that to me, I understood and we went with it. And it was the red lipstick, the perfect hair, the deep, gravelly voice. But when you got that blonde hair, you got to have a deep voice.
I want to be close, but you won't let me near. What are you protecting me from?
She's got a very straight job. She works inside the police headquarters. But as soon as she meets Batman, she's flagging him down off a local rooftop.
I'll bring the wine. You bring your scarred psyche.
You know, we've never seen in a Batman movie anybody use the bat signal except Commissioner Gordon. So one has to admire the determination of such a beautiful young woman that she would just turn on the bat light so she could meet Batman.
Finally, her arc is, you know, where she starts to explore her relationship with Bruce as well as her relationship with Batman, which are both completely different, even though it's the same person.
Don't work too late.